we're back, the three dudes of horror. On tonight's show, we're talking about Stranger Things 2, with our special guest speaker substituting for our host, Toots. Say hello to the people at home, Debbie.
Hello.
Okay, that'll be that.
Yeah, once again, Toots is missing.
Toots is MIA again.
Yeah, we're looking for a replacement. If you guys are listening right now, send us your request.
Yeah. Or if you want to audition.
Your resume.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Toots is not here.
It's time to call Rolly.
Yeah, but right now we're auditioning my lovely wife, Debbie. But the two dudes of the three that are here, it's myself, Damien, and
Wormboy.
Wormboy, as you guys know, our video game expert. No?
Oh yeah, I'm one of the best out there.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
And we were just gonna have a kickback, lighthearted discussion, just kind of like BSing, like low-key episode tonight. And then we thought, since we all recently saw Stranger Things 2, and that's one of the hot things everybody's talking about right now, so we're gonna give our thoughts on season 2. So what'd y'all think? I went back to my DJ voice for a minute there.
I thought it was okay. I actually think it was overhyped, I guess, in a way, to me. I mean, it's good, but there's so many different things going on, and to me, it feels like it was rushed. That's how I feel. And we're going to have spoilers, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of spoilers.
Like, for me, it was rushed because the 9 episodes wasn't enough for all the stuff going on. Like, 11 was gone for a long time, and then she comes out of nowhere, and then boom, she just defeats or closes the gate. And,
Well,
I would have liked her to struggle a little bit,
that part about the closing the gate, I need to go back and watch season 1 again, because I don't remember that when she closed it in season 1.
She didn't close it. She opened it.
She opened it.
But they had said, didn't they say, like, you've done this before, right? Or they were just referencing the fact that she had opened it?
Yeah, she's the one who opened it.
See, that's okay.
Accidentally.
Yeah, she fucked it up.
That's why I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you think about?
Well, I liked it. I did. I know that there was like a lot of hype about it also, and yeah, I do think that it could have been longer. Like there could have been more episodes so that it wouldn't have seemed as rushed. And yeah, the one thing that I didn't like about the season was that unlike the first season, 11 wasn't with the gang like at all until the very last episode. And so I kind of didn't like that. I understand why she wasn't, but that's why I think I like the first season better, because everybody is together. Like all the gang is together the whole entire season. And this time we had to wait until the very last episode.
Now we have a new character named Max.
Yeah.
But she was weird to me throughout the whole thing. I mean, she's cool, but I don't know. I feel like it was forced.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't think. Well, because when we first started watching it and they introduced Max and her older brother Billy,
yeah,
I was thinking that their characters were going to be more significant, and I was waiting for some big reveal. I was waiting for like some big reveal about their characters, like what are they up to, like what are they. And it wasn't like they were just two new kids in town. Like, that was the whole... And I was kind of like, well, what was the reason for that? Like...
I don't know. I felt like if they thought that the group has to have a girl, and since 11 wasn't going to be able to be a part of this season that often, well, she was, but, on her own storylines, like, I felt like they thought that they needed to have a girl with the guys again, like the first season. And that was their way of having a girl involved again.
I think also it was a test for them to see,
She was a Yoko factor.
Yeah.
Basically, I mean, that's what it
Because
was.
they revealed a lot to her, like really quick. I was like, you don't even know her.
Yeah.
Wasn't that one of the debates that they were, or arguments that they were getting into of
Yeah,
Oh,
'cause
Lucas
they told
and
them
Dustin.
everything.
giving her a lot of too much info?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah, they broke the rules.
that's what it was. That's the phrase they kept using. But I don't know, you know what though? Like, Steve, the character of Steve was like
Awesome.
a dipshit in the first season.
Well, just for like
Not
one episode.
throughout. Yeah, he became better
Yeah.
towards the end of season 1.
And then when he I thought it was cool when he beat up the Demogorgon with his bat. His
Yeah.
nail headed bat.
The Negan back.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in season 2 he became like a real cool character. Like slowly. And that's what I was gonna say earlier when you were talking about like the season was like a slow build.
Mhm.
That's what I thought too. Like I thought it was they weren't giving you much information at all. Like in the whole first like half of the season, and another example is the character Bob, the Sean Astin character.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
I thought he was like working for the facility. I thought that he was like a spy or something, like
Yeah.
pretending to be Joyce's boyfriend.
Yeah.
And they kind of presented him that way, like the way that he delivered that monologue that he has about his bad dream or whatever when
Mhm.
he's driving Will to school.
He
gives
fucks it up for him.
He gives him really bad advice.
He's like, you just gotta tell her to let go. I mean,
To go away.
And see the fact that his advice led Will to down a dark path. It seemed like
He was part of it.
Yeah.
And that's what I thought, and I was misled. Like I was like, and I was wondering, like, am I the only one that's thinking this? Like this guy.
Well, I guess we see it like that because we know that everything that happened in season 1, which normal people like Bob know nothing about. So he might not have given him that kind of advice if he actually knew like what was actually happening.
Well, yeah.
Because if you think about it from a perspective of like just like an adult telling some kid, you know, you're having nightmares.
He was trying to help him.
Yeah, like you need to face your fears. Like everybody tells kids that, you know, you need to face your fears so that you're not scared of the nightmares anymore. You tell the monster to go away. But if he actually knew what was really happening, then he probably wouldn't have told him to do that.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
But that's why we were suspicious of his character. Like we thought maybe this guy is working for the lab.
I wasn't suspicious. I was more like, I don't know. To me, he felt out of place. Like he didn't belong there almost. Like they were forcing him too much on Joyce. You know, because you know that relationship, which I don't think was 100%. Like I don't know. That was just weird to me.
Well, I think he seems out of place because he's the only one in the storyline that didn't experience all the trauma that they went through the first season. So I think that's why he seems awkward with everybody else, because he doesn't know what's really going on. Why everybody's weird, why everybody's freaked out. He just thinks, oh, they're all messed up because he had been missing and he was somewhere lost in the forest, right? That's what they ended up saying as a lame excuse about Will being gone forever.
But I mean, all the new characters in season 2, I was misled. Like Paul Reiser's character.
I know. I thought he was going to be bad too.
Yeah, I thought he was like the new Matthew Modine.
Yeah.
Like, what's Matthew Modine's character's name?
Brenner, Dr. Brenner.
Yeah, I thought he's just the new, evil.
Yeah,
guy.
Dr. Brenner was cool, but I still don't trust him. You know.
But I mean, he kind of turned out to be a good guy, and I thought he was a bad guy. And it was the same thing with Sean Astin's character, and I was misled again with the Max and Billy characters. Because I thought that they were going to be more than what they were. Like, they were just, like, they had nothing to do with any of the, like, I guess, supernatural elements of the, they were just new kids in town. And I was like, so why were they introduced? Like,
yeah, did they even explain? I don't think they did, right?
They were just new kids in town.
They moved there because their parents had gotten divorced, and her mom married his dad, so they're step siblings, and they don't like each other at all.
Yeah.
So that's why, you know, he's kind of abusive. Well, not kind of. He is
He's
abusive.
abusive because of the father
Yeah.
hitting him. And
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the season 2 was a lot less structured than season 1, and I think it goes back to a lot of like what you guys were saying about how the gang's all broken up for the majority of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Like even the boys that are all in town together, like a great deal of the show, like Dustin is with his little pet Demogorgon Dart, and he's keeping it a secret from the other guys.
Mm-hmm.
And
until
see that, like, Dustin was my favorite character in the first season, and there were certain things that they did with him in season 2 that I was kind of like they're having him keeping secrets from the other guys.
But if you really think about it, every single one of them was keeping secrets this
But,
season from each other. They weren't going by the rules that they were in season 1. They were all keeping secrets. Lucas was keeping secrets by telling Max everything. Dustin was keeping secrets by keeping Dart and not telling them about it. And then Will was keeping secrets from Dustin and Lucas and was only telling Mike about what was really happening to him, about him going from back and forth to the Upside Down. And so they were all just, like, that whole, like, closeness was kind of just falling apart until the very end of the season.
because I think they got together because of 11.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's what brought them together, because of her. Like, everything was like back to normal because of her.
And the whole season, Mike is like, Mike's missing the Finn Wolfhard character. He's just like bummed out because Eleven's gone and he doesn't know where she is, because they don't know that Hopper is actually protecting her by keeping her in his cabin.
As a prisoner.
As a prisoner, yeah.
But you
but
gotta understand.
he actually thinks, though, like, he believes that he's doing it for her own good. Like, he has good intentions.
Yeah. He was teaching her how to talk and everything and feeding her and, you know.
Yeah.
And I liked that. Because they didn't have, like, a lot of screen time together in season 1, right?
Mm-mm.
And then they're kind of like a father and daughter duo in season 2.
Yeah.
But like I said, like, the structure was way different than season 1. And
and I guess because they have to, like, do something with the structure, like something new, I guess.
Yeah. They don't do the same thing over and over again.
No, I know, but still, like, if I had to choose, season 1 is still my favorite.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was something new, something you didn't know was gonna happen, and now season 2, some of the things that were happening, like, I guess I could, like, kind of hint at what was gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I knew Dart was gonna not
Be good.
Yeah, and that was horrible. What happened? But,
Yes, Dart was bad. Bad Dart.
and then he ate the cat.
Yes, horrible. Disgusting.
Meows.
Yeah.
And speaking of characters that I got completely wrong with my predictions and theories, we have to talk about, and then there's a whole episode also. They introduced the character of 8.
Oh, yes.
At the
Oh, yeah, she's cool.
At the very beginning of the show, like at the very beginning of episode 1, they introduce
yes.
her, and they don't explain it until you see that she can make people hallucinate.
Yeah.
And then you see the mark, the number 8
Mm-hmm.
on her arm, and you're like, oh, she's another one. And then they don't do anything with that character till like later. They give her an entire episode, and with her, I was thinking that she was gonna get pulled in to what was going on in Hawkins, and I was completely wrong.
She just came out in 1.
Yeah, like, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking eventually 11 is gonna change her and convince her to use her powers for good.
And what kept me thinking, I was like, well, who are the other ones, you know?
Yeah.
Who else?
1 through 10.
They might already be there, and one of their characters that's there yet.
Or they could still be in the facility.
Well, I think that's what left, like, a bunch of unanswered questions. Like, what are they going to do? Like, are they thinking of making a spin-off? Are future seasons going to be about maybe 11 wanting to find the other ones and see if they're okay, or some of them dead, or...
Because obviously there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
And I'm assuming some of them are going to be good and some of them are not.
Well, like 8, she was kind of using her gifts for bad things. Like she had that.
she was killing people.
She had
Well,
that
it depends
gang.
who you ask.
Yeah, it's
'Cause
just your interpretation of whether
She was
or not
killing. She was killing those people that were, I guess,
torturing her.
that were
Well, but I mean, she had kind of fallen in with that group of like thieves, and
Mm-hmm.
she was using her powers to, help them out, stealing, and so I mean, it's kind of.
I guess I just assumed that all the rest of them were dead because 11 was the only one that had escaped. And so now you find out that 8 also escaped. So it makes sense that those two are out. But unless 1 through 10, besides 8, also escaped, then more than likely they're dead. Or they're still in prison somewhere in a lab.
Who says they have to be like humans, It might be something else.
Yeah. Right.
Or there might be more than 11 too.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I just thought, like, the way it ended up, I thought that the dynamic with 8 and 11 was kind of like Professor X and Magneto.
That's what I was thinking too.
Really?
Yeah, like they have special powers like mutants, I guess.
Actually, I was making fun of 11, like Darth Vader.
But 11 has, because of her experience, I guess mostly with Mike, but all the kids and Hawkins and everything, like she kind of has this optimism about humanity and still is trying to do good.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas 8 is a lot like Magneto,
Mm-hmm.
where she's kind of given up on humanity and she doesn't trust people like 11's learned to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they were kind of flirting like with it, like is 8 gonna turn 11 bad? But then eventually she doesn't. She goes back to Hawkins to help. She decides to use her powers for good.
I mean, I know a lot of people didn't like that episode. Like everybody's saying that that's
Why?
like the worst episode of Stranger Things because they said that it felt like a filler and that it was unnecessary. But she taught her how to use her power and how to, really focus. And if she hadn't taught her that, then she might not have been able to close the gate at the end. So it really did serve a purpose as far as them meeting, because then she might not have known that she was strong enough to close the gate.
Well, I think that was essentially the whole reason for having 8 in the season.
Well, and also because she came out in the beginning, and you know, the mom, they had the same mom, and the father, and she escaped too. So I think it was. I mean, it's a good season, but I don't know. There's just so many things. I was just like, I guess a little bit disappointed. Where it just, to me, it seemed like it was just really quick. Like 11 came back towards the end, and boom, like real quick, she fixes everything.
Yeah.
I didn't really like that.
Yeah, because season 1 there was a lot of struggles.
Yeah, and this one was like, oh hey, here comes the hero, which is awesome. But I was just like, come on, at least struggle a little bit or something,
And I think that little boy that plays Will did a really good job.
Yeah.
Because we didn't really get to see him act that much in season 1 because everybody was just the one that everybody was looking for in season 1.
Oh.
And so in this season he had to do a lot more acting, and he did a really good job. Like I think he did a really good job.
When he was shaking.
Yeah, and he had the seizures, and he was like, he did the whole looking like he was possessed and everything. That was really awesome.
Well, all the kids are good in the show. Like, well, back to what I was mentioning earlier about, because Dustin was my favorite of the kids in season 1.
And now he's not.
And there were he's still the same character, but there were just things that they took where they took his character in season 2 that I was kind of like he had a lot of the I guess, like, I don't know how to say it, like the bad jokes, like they turned him into like the goofy friend in the group like they had in every 80s movie that makes really awkward bad jokes that everybody's like, oh, shut up, jackass. Like they kind of did that a little bit too much with him in season 2, whereas in season 1 he was like the heart of the group, the glue of the group, I guess. Like he would always say he would tell people the truth, like what they needed to hear. Like he was like I guess like River Phoenix's character in Stand By Me.
But I don't know, I think to me it makes sense because they're growing up And, you know, sometimes, you know, hormones and everything else change kids. They're not going to be all sweet and innocent forever.
But
Yeah.
it would be nice.
But he's still, like, a good
Yeah,
kid.
yeah.
He didn't become a jerk or anything.
And we have to talk about the older brother dynamic with Steve and Dustin.
I liked that. I liked it. I thought it was super cute.
The older brother.
How,
Like,
like,
he
Steve-
kinda,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
he-
Steve kind of takes him under his wing.
He turned into like his mentor.
Yeah.
the hair at
And
the
then he
end.
takes the hair.
Yeah. But like when they were walking
Oh
on
my God.
on the railroad tracks,
Yeah.
and that's where he tells him about like he reveals like his routine to get his hair the way it is.
And I think Steve is still depressed.
Yeah.
Like, he still likes, what's her name?
Nancy.
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 And I think Nancy still kind of likes him too.
Yeah.
But she likes both.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
But he
like Bella.
but like Steve,
Right?
Steve.
God.
No, well, yeah, actually,
She likes both.
Yeah, I guess.
But she doesn't know who to choose.
I hadn't thought of that, but that's actually like a really good like parallel. Like,
And they're both cool with each other, the both guys, you know? Kind of.
I think that's why it makes it so hard, because you want one to be a jerk so that you can root for the other one, but neither one of them are jerks.
but that's the thing. Steve was like a douche in season 1.
I
Like,
think
didn't
that
he-
I thought that Steve was gonna be like how Billy's character is in
Yeah.
this season, and I feel like that's what
Billy.
they like how they had originally like planned him out to be, but then I don't know, they changed their mind and decided, oh no, he can have, you know, more depth and be like an actual decent human being in the show.
Maybe that's why they brought in Billy. Like they brought in
Yeah.
somebody worse than Steve.
There has to
Mhm.
be somebody, there's always a villain.
There's always a bully everywhere, so I guess.
But I thought it was cool, like when Steve's like teaching Dustin how to be more comfortable talking to girls and all that. Like he became
Yeah.
like his older brother. Like I don't know, I thought it was cool because
And there's
Dustin's
a lot of
my favorite.
80s references, 80
lot.
movies,
A lot.
The Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters.
I want to talk
obviously.
about I liked it when they're outside the school. When they all show up to school dressed as the Ghostbusters.
And nobody else is dressed up.
Yeah.
So embarrassing.
And they have like that big intense moment where the camera's like zooming in on Dustin and he's like looking up like all intimidated, and you're thinking, and all he's looking at is the bus. He's looking at they cut to like they cut to his POV and he's just watching all the other kids getting off the bus and they're all just in their regular like civvies and he's like, how come no one else is in costumes? It's like, no, but where they're all debating like which one they are.
Oh, yeah.
That was funny. I thought that was funny.
Well, it's true. Nobody wants to be
Beckman.
Ernie Hudson's character.
Why? He's awesome.
Because he's not a scientist, and he's like the add-on. Like he's
Or
not
'cause
even
he's
like
black?
no.
But that's what they
That's what they
say.
say. It's like, oh, because I'm black, I have to be him.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but that's what they say. That's what one of the characters says.
like they
that.
hinted at it, like if he was saying like, "Oh, you think I should have been him because I'm black?" But it's like, no, it's like it's because they're kids and they don't think that way. It's just the fact that he's like the least coolest Ghostbuster.
Yeah.
It wasn't a race thing. It was
No, but one of them actually.
he's not cool.
One of the kids said what you said. They were like, "Well, he's not a scientist," and he was like the
Yeah.
last one that just came in.
Yeah,
Like,
it was just
He's
like
a filler.
It was a filler. Yeah.
but yeah.
And the Goonies reference.
The
With
Warriors.
Oh
This is Sean
Was
Astin's
there a
character.
Warriors one too?
no, but he said something about
So
Sean
what's at
Astin
the end
said,
of the
yeah,
what's at the end of the trail?
Treasure.
Treasure?
a pirate
The
treasure.
pirate treasure?
It's like
Goonies.
yeah.
Awesome.
Because there's definitely the Goonies vibe, like with the kids at certain points in Stranger Things.
Yeah.
So
Kind of reminds me of E.T. also in a way.
yeah, big time.
Like
Like
with the bikes.
yeah, and then where 11's like on where it makes the van go flying.
And I
Like
saw the Jaws poster because Jaws is awesome.
Oh,
I love Jaws. I just thought it sucked how
Dun.
what's the older brother's name? What's Will's older brother's name? Jonathan? Is that his
Jonathan.
name?
I think so.
How when he goes to the Halloween party and he doesn't know that girl is dressed up as Susie from Susie and the Banshees, And it's like, because he's always talking about how he listens to good music and he listens to the Smiths and he listens to like all this like hardcore awesome music, but how, and for some reason he didn't know who she was dressed up as. I thought that was kind of lame. I'm like, is Jonathan a poser?
I don't remember that part.
Is Jonathan a poser? Jonathan might be a poser.
Why?
Because he's always telling Will, like, I listen to good music, and he's like, I listen to David Bowie and the Smiths and all this cool stuff, but he didn't know that that's who she was dressed up as. It's like me not knowing that someone's dressed up as Robert Smith at a Halloween party. Well, yeah, but you didn't listen to that music.
Maybe that is what that scene was supposed to indicate. That he
I'm like, I don't know about that. Yeah, I think that's what I'm thinking.
Or a loser.
I'm like, come on, man.
What did you think of that conspiracy guy character, the one that Nancy and Jonathan go to?
He was cool. He was funny.
I liked him.
I thought when I was first introduced to him, I was kind of like, oh, this guy's gonna be annoying. But he's cool. But that was my initial impression of him. But then eventually he kind of like grew on me. I was like, no, this guy's pretty cool actually.
Yeah, and like how he puts him on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you know, pretty much gets into their heads. He's like, yeah, you guys are like boyfriend girlfriend kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, no, we're just friends. It's like, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're just friends.
But at that point, they were both thinking it, though.
Yeah.
He's very perceptive.
And then they had sex.
Yep.
But I like the part at
I think they're going to have a baby.
Why?
Because season 3 has to happen. But it's going to be a Demogorgon.
I thought that the Mind Flayer thing, whatever, the H.P. Lovecraft big monster,
mm-hmm.
I thought that at the last showdown at the end, I thought that it was gonna come out of the Upside Down and actually come into like our side of it, like the downside up, I guess.
Well, what I was
and they were gonna have like this big, they were gonna have this big showdown with that monster, and that was gonna be the end. But
I was thinking that possibly season 3 could be about
it coming out.
Dustin and Hopper, because the reason why this season happened was because Will got infected. Like, they're pretty much saying that it's like a virus.
Mm-hmm.
And in this season, Hopper inhales that stuff that Will had inhaled, and so did Dustin when they were in the bottom, when they were trying to attract all the demo dogs at them.
Will has gotten all the attention already.
Mm-hmm. And so this time Dustin inhaled that stuff, and so did Hopper, so they might be infected. And you know how they show them like cleaning off Hopper at the end, when after they had found him all full of the vines and everything, and he's coughing up black stuff like the way that Will was, remember? And that's when he coughed up that, I guess, whatever dart became, because it was yellow, right?
Well, it was a little Demogorgon.
Yeah. So now it's possible that Dustin and Hopper are also infected. So that could be one of the things that season 3 is about, which would give the shadow monster another shot at coming out into our dimension or world.
Even more of a shot, because now
there's two. Yeah.
Well, I wanted to say like the little mini Demogorgons in this season, and they were like a little small army,
mm-hmm.
and they were kind of like it made you think of the aliens from the Alien franchise, but just smaller, maybe more like the Huggers. I thought they were more intimidating than the bigger Demogorgon in season 1.
They were in a pack, dude.
And they're fast.
Yeah.
Their teeth were disgusting.
And the season was a little more gory, right?
Yeah.
In season 1, you know that people die. Like, you see Barb, like, and then she's gone. And you're like, okay, she's dead, right?
Nobody cares about that.
But this season, like, they show, like, them ripping pieces off Bob. And, you know, it was a lot more gory than season 1.
Yeah, I actually laughed in that part.
You're so mean. Poor Bob. I liked Bob.
I didn't really like him.
When he lingered standing there after he locked the door,
I
knew what was gonna happen.
You waited too long. Like, you should have just left.
That I was able to actually call. I was like, oh, they're gonna bust through the door and they're gonna kill him. Like, and it was because like what we were saying. Like they made you. He turned out to be a great guy, helping out, and they made you like the character. And then they're gonna kill him. Like,
well, who knows? They might experiment on him and bring him back. Nah.
Well, they had to kill somebody, right?
Yeah.
Did the Paul Reiser character die, or he just stayed in
for some reason, they only bit his leg. I mean, when they got to Sean Astin, they just like ate him until there was nothing left. But for some reason, the doctor in this season, the one that's supposedly helping Will, for some reason they only bite his leg. I'm like, yeah, I don't believe this.
I think he's not helping them.
Yeah, I don't trust him. And that was the reason why I don't trust him.
I
because
think it's all part of the plan.
That doesn't make any sense.
And all that happened, it was part of the plan itself. Because how come he didn't die?
Exactly. How come they didn't eat him? Just bit his leg? Really? Come on.
Maybe he's one of the...
What, does he taste bad?
No, maybe he's another one. A number.
That would be interesting.
Maybe he's number 2.
He's number 1 because he's old.
Numero dos. You never know. He might be number 2 and he can morph into different people.
That would be interesting.
But I remember we had heard that this was going to be it for Stranger Things.
And now they already said there's going to be a season
3. They
3.
really left it open big time when they after the dance where they pan down
the dance.
When it flips upside down to the parallel of the upside down.
They're all still there waiting.
I want the monster to come out already.
I do too.
Like I seen it. I was like, well, I want to see what the damage it does. You know, people need to die.
People need to die.
No, you know, because you want to see that. Not for them to die, but you want to see the monster come out and, you know, see the destructive...
Do some damage.
Yeah, so that way more people get involved and it's not just about them, you know.
It's going to be more of like a monster movie retro feel, like the Godzilla movies and all that.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of, what's that movie called? Where they filming and there's that big thing.
Cloverfield.
Oh, Cloverfield. Yeah. Ugh.
Well, I mean, the H.P. Lovecraft monster, the Mind Flayer, he did look a lot like the Cloverfield monster. Because I think they modeled the Cloverfield monster after, like, the H.P. Lovecraft monsters, too, so... But I thought this season was really good, and I enjoyed it. But I did like season 1 a little more.
And you can tell they had a lot more money for this season, because
every
episode looked like a movie, like movie production, you know?
Yeah, and then all those references they had to make. I mean, imagine how much money they had to pay the Ghostbusters.
Oh, that's true. They probably... Yeah, and then all the music too, man. That must have cost a lot.
Yeah, but that just goes with the territory because season 1 did so well. They put a lot of money into season 2.
It looked really good though. Like every
episode, paid off.
Every episode looked like a movie. Like it was pretty awesome.
Well, I don't know. I enjoyed it. Like I liked season 1 a little bit more, but I thought this season was close behind. Like it wasn't much worse. There were certain, like I said though, there were certain things that they did with Dustin that I was kind of like, no, like, don't make him that 80s, like, stereotypical, like, the jackass friend that makes all the dumb jokes and annoys everybody. Like, don't take him to that. I was afraid they were going to take him in that direction. And I was like, no, don't do that.
But he's still sweet, you know?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like,
especially at the very last episode. You feel really bad for him because he, you know, none of the girls want to dance with him, and it's really sad.
Yeah, I was pissed off. I was like, somebody dance with him.
Yeah. And that was really cool of Nancy to dance with him too. That was awesome.
But yeah, that's our thoughts on Stranger Things 2.
Season 3 comes out, I'll definitely watch it. All in one day, like season 1 and season 2.
It's no longer gonna be on Netflix.
What?
No, I'm joking.
Like lies. Netflix would never get rid of that show. But yeah, I suggest anybody watching the show. You can watch season 1 and season 2 in 2 days if you're really dedicated.
In 1 day.
If you're really dedicated and you don't need to sleep
and you're unemployed
and you don't mind your butt falling asleep, it's cool. Just watch both seasons just straight through.
We binge watched season 2 in 1.5 days.
Yep.
Jeez.
But yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen season 2, then you shouldn't be listening to this because it was spoiler filled. But I highly recommend it. It's a great show. And I wanted to say, like what we were saying, that nowadays it seems like every show is like retro 90s, retro 70s, retro 80s. But this show is the only one that, to me, it actually seems like the 80s. Like, I think they really got it. Like, it actually seems like it's the 80s. Like,
I like the Goldbergs too. I think they do a good job also with that. But that's just me. I love that show.
yeah, but well, I like that show too. But I think like they're intentionally overdoing it with like the 80s fashion and 80s references. I think that's their intention in that show.
Well, because it's supposed to be
Like,
silly.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm not slamming it for that, but I'm saying like with Stranger Things, it actually seems like what you were saying. We're more like E.T. That E.T. vibe,
Yeah.
that Goonies vibe, like more E.T. probably, but it to me it's like if I didn't know that it was filmed right now and I saw it, I might think like, was this in the 80s? Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I recommend it. I don't know, what are y'all's thoughts?
I recommend anybody watching the shows. They're awesome.
Yeah,
All of those kids are amazing actors and actresses.
I would what would
Especially
grade
Finn.
Finn Wolfhard?
Yeah.
Finn Balor.
Finn is awesome.
What if you had to grade the show? What would you?
I
Well,
would
season
give it
2.
an A-.
I would give it like I would give it like a B plus or an A minus, because I would probably give season 1 an A.
Yeah, I guess he's 1 an A+.
I would give it a B plus.
So that's our thoughts. We'll get the DJ guy back. So that's our thoughts on Stranger Things 2. Tell us what you think. If you have any comments about it or whatever, like any comments about what we had to say on our spoiler-filled review of season 2 of Stranger Things. And next week we're gonna try to get our host Toots back.
So it's yeah.
If you're listening, Toots,
No, he
like,
never does this.
this is the 3 dudes of horror.
Well, not today, but yeah, usually.
So yeah, this is us signing off. I'm your acting host. I'm trying my best, Damien, and
Worm boy.
And Debbie.
my lovely wife. We'll see you next show.
Good night, guys. Good night.
Peace.